What's up? What's up? What's up? 41 challenges and violations of the FCRA. And I'm also giving you 19 different elements that you can use to remove any negative item from your credit report. And I'm sharing my screen with you. And here we go. 41 challenges and violations of the FCRA. Okay, so you shouldn't be doing anything other than factually disputing. And I'm going to give you a bunch of different things that you can use to factually dispute to get these things off your credit report. Why? Well, because vague general disputes can get results, but what? They normally are added back to your credit report quickly. And when they do that, now you're going to have a significantly more difficult time to remove these. And guess what? It's already harder, okay? Like now is more difficult than it was prior to the pandemic. And if you're not doing it the right way, these things are just not going to come off. So listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth, because men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. And over the last 4 years, I have 50,000 deletions. All right, speaking of which, if you need help fixing your credit, head over to my740.com, schedule a call with me, and I will see if I can help. Another thing that you don't want to do is question the existence of an account just because you're not asking the bureaus for anything. We are telling them, hey, remove this because of this or that, because of these factual, errors, because of these inaccuracies, because of these violations. All right. So when you are constructing your actual dispute letters to the credit bureaus, remember that you want to keep it simple, straight to the point, and factual. Don't ask them to do anything. Tell them to do it, all right? So again, we're jumping through because I have so many things that I need to show you. So here we go. Checking for inaccuracies. Is the account number correct? Is the date that the account was established correct? Is the high balance correct? Is the credit limit correct? Are the terms correct? Frequency of payments reporting accurately? Status correct? Balance correct? Past due correct? These are the things that you want to be looking for. Another bunch of them is going to be, should there be past due balance? If it's a collection, no. Is the date of last payment correct? Is the payment amount correct? First delinquency or date of first delinquency or date of last activity? Is it reflecting as a charge-off incorrectly? Is the charge-off amount incorrect? Is the date closed correct? Type of account correct? Responsibility section correct, such as individual or such as authorized user, right? You should be looking at every single part of these so that you can determine whether you have inaccuracies or even whether you have violations. And we have two, what's the last one? Does the additional information section contain incorrect data, such as the notice of dispute? Did you dispute and did they not enter the notice of dispute? Well, if they didn't, guess what? That is a violation, all right? So again, we're jumping through stuff. So let's look at 11 different violations of the FCRA. All right. And these can be used for the credit bureaus. Okay. Willfully and recklessly reporting false information after being notified of reporting error and failing to investigate or correct the error, including mixed files, inaccurate date of status or last activity, inaccurate balance, inaccurate remarks, reinserting or re-reporting a previously deleted item without notifying you in writing within 5 business days of the reinsertion. And just so you know, you would take care of this, you would handle this violation using section 611. Failure to respond to a dispute within 30 days or 45 days if you received your credit report through free annual credit report service, all right? My recommendation, just between me and you here, don't use it. Don't use free annual credit report if you are going to be disputing. Why? Because it adds additional timing, and this is already a lengthy process, okay? And another thing is, don't send additional information in the middle of the month for something that you already disputed. It's going to be additional information, and it'll give them an extra 15 days. We're already dealing with a lengthy process. Don't do it, okay? Reporting a bankruptcy longer than 10 years from the date of adjudication, if I could read correctly. All right. Reporting a paid tax lien longer than 7 years from the date of payment, failing to update or report the status and or balance of an account that was included in bankruptcy as discharged with a zero balance. I see that one all the time. Failing to provide, if requested after verification, the method of verification, including the real name, address, and phone number of the furnisher within 15 days of your request. Pausing right there real quick. I don't use the method of verification for disputing. Why? Well, here's the deal. They're going to send you something that is just a template response, and that's not what we want. Yes, I do include, hey, what was your method of verification for these negative items? And then I put in the rest of my factual, disputes using the Agero formula for each of those accounts. All right. Reporting collections or charge off longer than 7 years from the date of status or last activity, with the exception of credit transactions involving more than $150,000, the underwriting of life insurance involving over $150,000, or employment with an annual salary reasonably expected to exceed $75,000 a year. And in case you find something that you didn't know before, make sure to smash that like. And if you have negative items you want to remove, make sure to subscribe so that you can learn how to remove these negative items from your credit report. Because guess what? These are the things that I use to remove negative items: factually disputing, finding the error, finding the inaccuracies, literally fighting those violations. Okay. If you don't know them, you're not going to be able to use them to get them removed. Failing to notate that an item on your credit report is under dispute after a creditor or debt collector has reported the dispute. Okay, so here's the deal. I've been talking about this a lot. You can very, very, very quickly remove negative items from your credit report by catching them in an FCRA 623 or FDCPA 8078 violation, which is where they're required to enter that notice of dispute in the comment section within 30 days from the receipt of first dispute. Now, they're not going to do it, okay? Especially right now when this is like the best time to dispute because it's the holiday season. Everybody's disputing. Everybody wants to remove their inquiries. Everybody wants to remove their negative items, and it's going to fall through the cracks, which it does anyway. So why wouldn't you capitalize on that, right? Reporting a record of arrest or conviction longer than 7 years, failure to report all relevant info, documentation proving your case to the furnisher when reasonable means to do so are available. Like, what does reasonable mean? That's my question. Well, here we have 11 violations for the creditor. All right. And again, smash that like if you find something that you did not know. All right. Ignoring an investigation request. Now, pausing right there. If they think it's coming from a credit repair company, they can ignore it. So it would behoove you to write your disputes in a way that looks like it's coming from a consumer versus a credit repair company. And yes, TransUnion is sending out to literally everybody the whole, oh, we think you're working with a third-party company, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? It's a stall tactic. Trash it and move on. Okay, literally tear that crap up, toss it in the trash, and just move on with your life with your factual disputes. That's how you handle that, all right? Willfully and recklessly reporting false information to the credit bureaus after being notified of the reporting error and failing to investigate or correct the error, including mixed files, inaccurate data status or last activity, inaccurate balance, inaccurate remarks, all right? Reporting a charged off account without reference to the date of status or last activity. Yes, that is a violation. So if you are looking at your credit report and in the DOLA section, there's nothing there, hey, violation, all right? Failure to report an account disputed by the consumer as disputed to the credit bureaus. That's the notice of dispute that I was talking about. So that's where you dispute it, and it's supposed to report as disputed, right? Well, if it doesn't, it's a violation. Okay, wow. Transferring or selling an account to another company without reporting the transfer and or a zero balance. I see that one all the time. So let's say that you have Capital One gets charged off, you don't pay it, it gets sold to portfolio recovery, but they being Capital One, fail to report the account as transferred or sold to another lender or company or creditor, whatever, with a zero balance. Now, it is double jeopardy when both of those companies are reporting and both of them have a balance. Only the account holder, which would be portfolio recovery, should report that balance. Otherwise, violation. All right, failing to update the status and or balance of an account that was included in bankruptcy as discharged with a zero balance, falsely reporting the ownership of an account to a non-liable consumer, such as spouse, family member, whatever. Yes, that's a violation. Withholding account data with intent to negatively affect a consumer's credit score. All right, this is a big one. All right, credit limit, balance, account status, etc. If you have an account with Capital One, if you have an account with Barclays, make sure to look at your credit report and look at these sections: the credit limit, the balance, account status. All right, specifically, hear me out here, the limit. Why? They are actually going to report the high balance as the limit, which it's obviously not going to be like that, right? And they do this to negatively impact your credit. I even saw it with my husband's credit when I first started building his file. And when, if you've heard in any of my videos where I talk about the felon that I removed all his negative items and then in less than 11 months got him approved for over $1.5 million, that's who I'm referring to, okay? So when I was fixing his credit, very first thing that I noticed was with Capital One, the high balance was actually reportedly the limit. Like, how is that even possible, right? So the way that you fix this is if they're not reporting the limit, you're going to go and as long as you have the money to pay it off, it's called run up, pay off. And it's exactly as it is with sports. When there's something that they call it or whatever, like a miss, it's because they missed. It's exactly what it sounds like. You're going to run up the balance, not to exceed the actual limit, and then you're going to immediately pay it off. All right. So now your limit is actually going to report accurately with the high balance, because if they think, even though you have a $5,000 limit, that because you only use $200, that your limit's only $200 because that's what the high balance is saying, then this is going to negatively affect you. So you are actually going to need it to reflect near that actual limit by running it all the way up, again, within reason, and then paying it off. So it will report the way it's supposed to, okay? Failing to delete a hard inquiry that had no permissible purpose. We recently talked about this, permissible purpose, okay? Everything on your credit report has to have a permissible purpose, specifically inquiries, all right? If you were not given a firm offer of credit, it doesn't belong on there, all right? Now, some business needs for an inquiry are legal, including some employment transactions, debt collection, government licensing, child support obligations, national security obligations, and creditor reviews. But this would be permissible purpose are going to be firm offer of credit, employment, insurance, or court order, or the things that I just mentioned. So when you go and you pull your credit report and you see these inquiries that are listed on there that you do not have an account that's actually attached to it, they do not belong on there because there's no permissible purpose unless it actually does fall within those things that I just said, all right? So if you were not given an account, it doesn't belong on there as long as it doesn't have to do with those other things. That is the actual way that I remove it, by attacking the credit bureaus. Now, obviously, the creditors have a totally different process. And if you want to learn about that, I do have a bunch of resources, specifically recently, on how to remove your inquiries, including removing your inquiries in less than 24 to 72 hours. All right, reporting a new duplicate account after receiving notice of dispute on the old account. I see that all the time with medical collections. Reporting an account with false reference or without reference to the original creditor and or account number. Okay. I don't really know if I want to go through the quiz on this. Let me see if I have anything after this, but okay. So here's the deal. You have many, many, many ways to remove negative items from your credit report. All right. And if you are not disputing the right way, these things are not going to be removed. Now, if you recall in the beginning, unless you weren't here in the beginning, there's over 19 different things that you can be disputing prior to ever looking at, inaccuracies and whatever violations, different challenges, so on and so forth. Okay. So the very first thing that you're going to want to do is pull your credit report and look for those things that we went over in the beginning, such as the high balance, the limit, the date last active. All those different things are going to be what you use to factually dispute. Okay. Our Adero formula is action, justifier, element, reason, and outcome. And we want to dispute a Capital One charge-off with that account number 517805. And we found that the date last paid shows three different dates, 2021, 4, 2021, and 5, 2020, then all we're going to do is that. So the action is going to be delete. The justifier is always because. The element is going to be date last paid. The reason is going to be these facts right here. These three different dates. I'm just going to copy and paste. And the outcome, we don't need it because we are just deleting the account. Okay. So what we're going to do is just plug it into the dispute. So let's take the caps off on here. Delete this account for inaccuracy because the date last paid reports as on Equifax, comma, and on TransUnion, period. That's it. That is literally how you take any account with any information and plug it in. I mean, it really can't get any easier than that. So I don't care what you're disputing, a bankruptcy, a collection, a charge off, a repo. The only thing it doesn't work with is, I mean, inquiries, really. And with inquiries, we're getting them off by disputing permissible purpose with the bureaus, or by disputing directly with the actual data furnisher, whoever they are, Capital One, American Express, whoever. Okay. So I don't care what it is that you're disputing. If you have negative items and you want to remove them, this is the way that you write the perfect dispute reason every single time. Okay. And this is, again, what I use to remove over 50,000 negative items over the course of 4 years. All right. That's actually when I started using the Agero formula, because I was like, you know what? There's got to be an easy way to replicate this. Right. So now if we were actually trying to remove late payments from an account, and yes, I know I'm throwing in additional information on this live, but that's okay, because you know what? There's a knowledge gap and I am here to fill that gap. All right. So if we are trying to remove late payments, and this is not for student loans, those are handled differently. Let's say that it's, again, Capital One, but it's a late payment and it's showing that we were late on, I don't know, August 2021. Now, let's say that it's reporting like that on all three bureaus. We're actually going to say it's going to be Capital One, account number 517805. And I always put a hyphen on there. You can either say this late payment on August 2021 is reported inaccurately and needs to be updated to paid on time. That's literally it. You could also say, if it were true, I did not pay late on August 2021. Remove this late payment for inaccuracy and update to paid, never late. Now, let's say that you have, I actually just saw this on a file that I was working on about, 40 minutes ago, where two bureaus are showing one thing, one bureau is showing something else, and then for 2 months prior to that, it's showing something totally different but opposite. So we would actually say something like, we're disputing Capital One again. So let's go and copy that. Drop down here. So we're going to say Capital One, account number 517805. Remove this late payment on August 2021 because Experian and Equifax report that I was late, but TransUnion correctly reports that I paid on time. An update to paid on time, never late. So now in the instance of student loans, if you have Nelnet, Navient, Sallie Mae, whoever, and they're reporting that you were 90 days late, but without prior late payments, that's literally going to be your dispute reason. I mean, you can't report that I am on time, 90 days, because those two on-time payments prior to the 90 days late would actually mean that they are reported inaccurately because I was in fact late, right? So you can use that to remove that. But anyways, it has been 24 minutes and 25 seconds. So I'm going to remove this, go back here, hello, and give you a couple different links. If you want to get access to my biggest secrets, head over to getmysecrets.ask-kristen.com. If you want to check out my mentorship program, then you can head over to sendme2.co/mentor-charter. And if you want to get access to the validation of debt dispute letter series, there's 8 letters, then you can head over to sendme2.co/VOD. And I do have something new, and it's only available for the next 2 days. My financial independence workbook, and there's 40 different pages. This is going to help you to identify your different goals, get out of the current mindset that you have for making money, saving money, and your limiting beliefs. So there's a ton of different things on here. Reframing your mindset for money, reframing your mindset for your goals, so on and so forth. And we also have the fearless money mindset. And yes, I created these specifically for you because you guys asked me to. All right. So this one is going to help you. It's kind of like the other one, but it's a little bit different. You know, how do you talk about money, overcoming financial limiting beliefs, so on and so forth. Debt payoff tracker, expense tracker, saving trackers, all of that kind of stuff. This is actually something that allowed me last week to save $2,200 and some odd dollars because I actually, and this one's the ultimate finance planner. This one's my favorite, but it allowed me to log all of my expenses. And when I logged my expenses, I realized that I was paying for stuff that I either didn't want anymore, didn't need, felt that it was too expensive for whatever it was. And I either, called them or went online and, I canceled them. Because before I was actually using just one app, Rocket Money, right? And with Rocket Money, it wasn't giving me the information that I needed. So I logged my expenses. I looked just to make sure that I wasn't missing anything. I looked at my bank statements and Rocket Money, put everything onto my debt tracker and my expenses and all of that. And then, like I said, I went and I highlighted everything that I didn't need. I obviously kept everything that I did need, and I was able to walk away with a savings of $2,200 and some odd dollars. And that was just doing it one time. So if you feel that you would benefit from, checking out your expenses and putting things on paper and, making a budget and, tracking your savings and all of that, then use that link that you see on your screen right now, which is sendme2.co/planners. And for the next 2 days, you get access to all 3 of these for just a one-time payment of $67 versus $49 each. All right. I hope you have a great one. And if I don't see you sometime this week, then have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And that is it. Bye. Oh yeah, you see my tree, right? Yeah, we don't wait till after Thanksgiving. It's like day after Halloween. So anyways, smash that like, subscribe if you haven't done so, and I'll see you later. Bye.